Okay, so I think we'll make a start. Thank you all for joining us on what promises to be a really interesting and informative panel discussion. I'm Michael, I'm a student at Durham University. I've also been a member of the Smarten student research team for the past year. I'm joined by Chloe, who's a postgraduate student at Bournemouth University and who's going to be coming into the Smarten team. I'm also joined by our fabulous 5 panellists that I have in front of me, who are bringing different and rich perspectives on the unique and specific challenges and support needs of postgraduate students. So we have Dr. Maria Gardani from the University of Glasgow, Dr. Jelena Milicev from the University. What's that? Oh, apologies. To be. Dr. Clio from the University of Sussex, Geoffrey Cantor from the University Mentoring Organisation, and Rebecca Teague, who is a postgraduate student at the University of Sussex and also been a member of the Smarten research team for the last year too. The kind of basic structure for today is that each speaker is going to get about 5 minutes to talk about their work and their perspective, focusing on the postgraduate students, and then we're going to open up to a discussion, kind of question and answers. You will see on the slides we are going to be using Slido in here, which is basically allows you to submit anonymous questions. So you've got the website there, you can also download the app, and then the hashtag E948 should allow you to get on and submit your questions as we go, because we're going to take questions after all the speakers have spoken. So if you have a question in mind after one speaker, you can submit it through Slido, and that'll be a good opportunity to pick it up at the end. I think that's all from me. So we're going to start with Rebecca. Would you like the mic? Yeah.
Hi everybody. So my introduction is going to be pretty brief because I'm just a PhD student. So by day I am a molecular biology PhD student at the University of Sussex. I work in the Genetic Damage Disability Centre. By night or by evening/weekend, I am on the Smarten student research team. So as part of my work with Smarten, I took part in the ethnographic case study project with Dr. Armstrong, and as part of that I interviewed PhD students who are currently in the middle of their studies about their attitudes towards their mental health and their attitudes towards other people's mental health and their cohorts and things like that. Alongside that, I'm also a student representative for the UDOC project, which Cleo's going to talk a little bit about, which is a project at Sussex specifically on PhD student mental health. And yeah, I'm basically just here to provide a current PhD student perspective, potentially one from the sciences, the boring sciences, I guess. And yeah, that's me, and that's what I know. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
I'm Clio. I'm currently in our close order, so is that all right? Great. So I'm currently a research fellow at the School of Psychology down at the University of Sussex. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to give you a whistle-stop tour of the UDOC project. So UDOC was one of the, you may have heard of them, the Catalyst-funded projects. So it was what was then FK, now Office of Students Research England's Catalyst call. They funded 17 projects, and the focus of the call was quite specifically on interventions in terms of PhD student mental health and wellbeing. And at UDOC at Sussex, we were quite keen to kind of use our funding really to focus on building a stronger evidence base on which to hand interventions for PBRs. So we set out to do these kind of 3 main research projects and research kind of work streams in UDOC. So I'm just going to tell you a couple of headlines, I guess, from each one of those so far. So we did a systematic review, so we were interested to try and think what evidence is already out there, focusing specifically on mental health problems amongst PhD students or PGRs. We found not very much evidence. We did find there's quite robust evidence that PhD students report significantly increased perceived stress relative to kind of population norms. Other than that, I would say we found more gaps than we did evidence to fill those gaps. So particular gaps including studies using kind of clinical outcome tools, studies in the UK, studies using comparison of control groups, and not so much, as we heard this morning from Nicola, not so much that we could say about prevalence in this group. We did some focus groups, Sussex University, just over a year ago. A key finding here, I think, is that mental distress or kind of mental health problems proper are experienced by PhD students as a beast that has emerged that's become a common bedfellow. So mental health problems somehow both unknown but also expected simultaneously and ubiquitous, but somehow usually still ignored, still hidden in silence. We're also using our focus group data to try and think about building a conceptual model to try and make sense of these kind of complex risk, vulnerability and protective factors and mechanisms and processes in PhD student mental health. So this complicated diagram, the idea here is that obviously at the top we think pre-existing experiences and individual differences are really important in terms of how mental health and mental health problems may be experienced during the doctorate. Mental health here in the middle, we're suggesting that mental health is supported by balance, and balancing key tensions which we see as characterising the doctorate experience. So that's the arrows you can see going across. Imbalance in these tensions seems to perhaps exacerbate the experience of mental health problems for PhD students. So to give you just a really brief example, looking at the top, thinking about a balance between kind of chaos and cosmos, what does that mean? So the idea that chaos is kind of freedom, flexibility, liminality, and a certain degree of that is important. Too much can become quite rigid, quite stifling. Cosmos being kind of order, instruction, precision, and too much of that too much of the cosmos can become rigid and stifling. Too much of the chaos can leave people feeling quite lost and uncertain and stuck. The kind of headline of that really is just saying that there do seem to be multiple complex, dynamic and interacting risk and protective factors, and that we need to think from the individual right up to the kind of broader systems and back down really. And we've done a national survey, so we're just starting to look at those data now. So we have data from between kind of 2,000 to 3,000 PhD students nationally, and a similar size working professional comparison group. I think a kind of interim but important finding seems to be that there does seem to be an issue with mental health problems amongst PhD students. So here looking at depression and anxiety, there's at least a significant minority, if not majority, of PhD students scoring above what we would consider to be a clinically relevant threshold, so kind of entry into mental health services, particularly in anxiety, which you see there in the grey. And also a really worrying echo of this idea of the expectedness and kind of normalcy of mental health problems. So agreement here, statements on this side, disagreement on that side. So a real sense that mental health problems seem to be something that is considered normative. There's a normativeness around an experience of suffering whilst doing a PhD. So I would say that we've been learning lots. We've been learning lots about PhD students and their experiences of mental health problems, the complexity of potential kind of risk, vulnerability and protective factors. I think we're also learning that it doesn't necessarily seem to be the case that mental health problems in this population translate into perhaps very hard outcomes. For example, things like intermissions and discontinuations, at least on paper. So I think it's something that has been comparatively easy for institutions to ignore to a great extent. So I think lots still to learn about how to raise awareness, and lots still to learn about how best to intervene and the kind of the who and how and the what and the where. So thank you very much, and thanks to our team and our collaborators and our funders as well.
Hello everybody, my name is Jelena. I'm a PhD student at the University of Glasgow studying PGR, mental health and wellbeing and using social network analysis. And today I'll be presenting the results of my master's study, which I did last year. And I would like to acknowledge my supervisor here, Dr. Gardani, and Stephanie Biello as well, and Research and Innovation Services who supported this study. So in this study, we looked at the prevalence and predictors of PGR mental health and well-being. The outcomes that we focused on were anxiety, depression, sleep, well-being, and suicidal behaviors. And as predictors, we looked at a number of factors, including demographic, traits, academic, and social factors. Our sample consisted of 479 UK-based PGRs. Most of them were females, heterosexual orientation was dominant, fully funded students were also in the majority. Years 1 and 2 were more predominant, and most of our participants were from the science background. Mean age was 31 and age range was pretty wide, 21 to 73. These are the prevalence rates that we found in this particular sample. So anxiety and depression affected 40% of the sample. Around 20% of these were severe symptoms compared to the numbers in the general population in the last row. Insomnia affected 46%. Levels of well-being were lower than in the general population, and suicidal behaviors were characteristic of 38% of the sample in the past 12 months. In terms of the predictors, we have highlighted the predictors that predicted 3 or more outcomes simultaneously. But overall, we can see that age was a protective factor, so all the students had better mental health outcomes. On the other hand, members of the LGBTQ plus community were at a higher risk of poor mental health. In terms of the trait variables, resilience was a major protective factor, predicting all 5 outcomes, and workaholism was a major risk, and so was maladaptive perfectionism. In terms of academic variables, we can see the negative evaluation of progress, developmental climate, and supervisory relationship was linked to poor mental health outcomes. Field of study and funding were not relevant, but social support was, and being in the 5th year of study as well, increased risk for suicide. Combination of these factors predicted a high proportion of variance, up to 59%, which indicates good fit to the data. Sorry. And in conclusion, prevalence of mental health problems is higher than in the general population. Traits seem to be particularly important, which supports previous findings, showing the importance of traits over situational factors, but this also highlights the importance of building an environment, an academic environment that is supportive and that cultivates protective factors such as resilience and helps people manage the damaging ones such as workaholism and perfectionism. Also, there is hope because traits such as these there is evidence that they are modifiable via psychoeducational interventions, so that's something that universities might want to focus on in designing their interventions. Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon. Really happy to be here, part of this really amazing panel. I just want to say that in Scotland we were part of the Catalyst Fund, so we had to really find our own means to investigate and look into postgraduate mental health. So we're really grateful to our university for supporting that. My background is on sleep. So I'm a sleep researcher, primarily insomnia researcher. So looking at all this data and looking at how the mental health really affects postgraduates, my mind was pretty much on what we can do to improve, what we can do to support postgraduates. And as we see from, and what we know so far, and we've talked about it quite a lot today, is that stress really affects postgraduates, probably due to work-life imbalance, transition, new roles, supervisory relationships. And also we know that stress and anxiety are really roots the onset of sleep difficulties and also the maintenance of sleep difficulties and problems. More recent work shows that sleep difficulties, and more specifically insomnia, may be really have been identified as risk factors for suicide ideation and suicide behavior in students. And also from the findings, we've seen that about 46% of our group reported insomnia. 24 of them said that their everyday lives were really affected by their sleep difficulties, primarily due to memory, fatigue, concentration. A lot of them actually said that they were finding it very difficult to work during the day. Most of individuals at this young age will be quite evening personalities, meaning that they want to stay out very late and not really engaging in what we'll say work-life balance. So high rates of insomnia and sleep difficulties, but what we can do to support them. Usually insomnia has been effectively treated by cognitive behavioral therapy, which is pretty much tackles the maintenance of thoughts and emotions, and that really affect our behaviors, and again relate to this vicious circle of negative behaviors that lead to negative thoughts and then negative emotions. Cognitive behavioral therapy would support and tackle these thoughts and also change these behaviors. It's usually being implemented as 5 to 8 sessions, but also there's quite a lot of relevance and relevant research showing that one single sort of acute CBTI can have an effect on alleviating sleep difficulty and insomnia. Recent work by Dana Freeman's group and in Oxford showed that cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia had a subsequent effect on psychotic symptoms and episodes in student population. So what we've done is that we've developed and tailored this cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia into one session, and we've implemented this to postgraduates. That was part of the sleep sessions I was running for my group, my university, but now we've evaluated their effectiveness. We've run 2 different design sessions. One included a follow-up, a booster session, and one without a booster session. And again, individuals were identified via emails from the postgraduate groups. This is again the pilot study, so we had 11 females and 4 males, and we looked into their insomnia, but also anxiety, depression, and stress. We followed them thoroughly with ActiveWatch, really measuring the sleep-wake cycle and sleep diary, and they were really engaged in that. So this is preliminary data we have for today. So what we've seen is that following this just one session, just one booster session, and we found that it had changes not only in sleep efficacy, which is a measure of sleep quality more than so sleep quantity, and also we have changes in how faster they fall asleep and how less interrupted the sleep is, understandably, but also we have changes in their anxiety and depression. So really that affected their well-being altogether. And again, it's pilot data, we hope to get more data. But what we really hope to say, and what's the message for today, is that just maybe sleep will be a less stigmatizing way of pretty much tackling mental health problems. Sleep, psychoeducation, tackling things like smoking, drinking, staying up late and eating better exercise and food may be pretty much like improving mental health via more a healthier lifestyle choice life. And maybe there'll be another way of tackling and really alleviating the problem of counseling services. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Geoffrey Cantor. I'm a retired academic and I've been working for the University Mentoring Organisation for the last 7 years. I mentor students principally in London, and also I've been running mental health workshops at KCL. A lot of the papers which deal with mental health problems mention loneliness en passant, and I've been particularly interested in it because a large number of the mental health students who I see, who are doing PhDs, complain in all sorts of ways about how lonely they are. And so I'm going to focus on this in this brief presentation. I think there are really three rather different kinds of loneliness, and it may be helpful to think about these as being significantly different. The first of all is something fairly familiar: physical isolation. When they were undergraduates, most of these students were members of a large cohort who fought together or hunted together. As a PhD student, they often find themselves on their alone, nobody to talk to, and the kind of complaint I keep hearing is, I spend days in the library and have nobody at all to talk to. There are also some groups which are particularly sort of cut off from one reason or another, and I'd add to my list here those students who are doing field work, perhaps in something like anthropology in alien cultures. So that's one form of loneliness. A second form of loneliness comes from the difficulties encountered in interpersonal relationships. And central to that, of course, as I need to tell you, is the relationship with a supervisor or supervisors. And a significant proportion of the students who I see have very difficult, in some cases extremely difficult, relationships with their supervisors. And the breakdown of these relationships lead them to be exceedingly lonely. Peter Lauenberg, a psychoanalytically trained historian, thinks that the postgraduate student is almost totally impotent and like a dependent child. And there's something to that. There are also other relationships which quite often break down with other members of, let's say, the lab or the department, sometimes very competitive institutions, and find students completely cut off from their fellows. There are also quite a number of implications as far as doing a PhD is concerned, as far as people's outside relationships are concerned. There are quite a few examples in the literature of marriages breaking up because one partner is so absorbed in his or her research. The third kind, the third kind is the loneliness associated with the structure of the PhD itself. Because in a very strong sense, the PhD is a very demanding personal journey for the person concerned. And as somebody has noted, it's like climbing a mountain, a trial that requires self-sacrifice and is inevitably accompanied by some level of suffering. So this internal kind of loneliness, where people have to turn inside often to find their own inadequacies, is my third kind. So finally, what can and should be done? A lot of things universities can do. First of all, to recognise it as a serious problem and provide appropriate structures, such as openly accessible spaces where people can mix freely. Again, supervisors should be trained to identify and support lonely students, especially those with mental health issues. As far as PhD students are concerned, they can sometimes compound the problem considerably, but at its best they can form peer support groups where two members may decide to help each other out so that when one feels bad, that person phones the other and vice versa. And finally, as far as mental health professionals are concerned, advisors, counsellors and mentors can help students considerably with their relationships and also those existential issues I mentioned earlier. Now, what I've gone through very quickly today is a paper which has just been published in Psychodynamic Practice, and you're welcome to follow that up. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much to all the panellists. Some very interesting research and interesting thought-provoking views. I've had two questions in from Slido, and then I'll hand it up to the audience, but they're both for you, Maria. First one was, what can institutions or student unions do to help students with sleep, mental health issues, in your opinion?
Universities or students?
Student unions or the institution?
I think, hello. And again, like my university had no sleep support or sleep interventions for the university, although the expertise was apparent within the academic staff. I think, again, like if the expertise is not available in the university academic staff, I think the university should seek support from other members, like counselors or clinical psychologists would be able to help and offer some support. But also we have to train people to give support in the sessions like I do, or even create like leaflets and flyers and pretty much get people aware of sleep and the importance of sleep in academic life, like memory, concentration, and also sleep deprivation pretty much affects every other aspect of our life.
Perfect. And another question for you. Has CBTI been tested on people that have sleep problems as a side effect of depression or medication, antidepressants? And if so, do you think it works?
Oh, okay. That's working. Right. So CBT, so insomnia and depression usually are come hand in hand. And there's some studies actually showing that if we improve insomnia, may have a subsequent effect in improving depression. When we're talking about depression, if we're talking about major depression, some aspects of CBTI should not be implemented in people with depression, or, for example, sleep restriction, because then again we have other issues. Sorry, what was the other part of the question?
Do you think it would be effective for these people?
Yes, it certainly is effective, and we know that that helps. And again, like in our study, we didn't exclude people who were not really having insomnia. But we've included them in small-scale study, and pretty much we've findings, our small-scale findings, so that we improve other aspects of our lives, like such as depression or anxiety.
I just had one more question through, so to the whole panel. Relationships with supervisors have impact on PG mental health. How can they be trained to support students better when a lot of academics aren't interested?
You can make a training manager. You can force anyone who's going to supervise a PhD student to do some element of supervision. And lots of supervisors, in my experience, value their PhD students and the work that they produce much more than they would value an hour or 3 hours or a day of their time, and I think they would be willing to take part in that. The ones that wouldn't, that would be so against any sort of training, should probably not be allowed to have PhD students.
Do you have anything to add?
I say something I think is, we've been also seeing supervision as a line management model. I take a lot of experience from my line management responsibilities that I do in the NHS into my supervision of PhD students. And I think if whole institutions approach it more in that way, with mandatory training, with attention to policies, and really actually holding
guess, to repeat what's been said, but also I think that a very strong message has to come high up. The university system just allows the whole PhD system to run without any kind of check or balance or oversight. I've been quite horrified at some of the examples I've seen of mis-supervision, and when it's been reported, it's always been shrugged off. And that has been very, very hurtful to the student as well. I think the Universities UK should take a very, very strong line on this. As far as training is concerned, I've got one or two horror stories of supervisors who go along to those trainings and spend the whole of their time doing their emails. But I think the whole ethos of the place of the university needs to change in order to take this seriously, and I think it has to come from the top. There are some very, very committed supervisors. There are also a lot who don't see their role as actually training the student, but rather the student is just a useful pair of hands, and that kind of attitude needs to change.
Can I just add
Sorry.
something? Yeah, thank you. Just to slip in something from the other side, because we also collected data from around 200 supervisors from across the UK. So their perspective on this, first of all, numbers show that around 60% of supervisors would be more than happy to discuss student mental health with their supervisees, but only 30% of PGRs said that they would be ready to do so. Then also supervisors were concerned that they may not be the best people to provide this kind of support, and they felt this huge responsibility, especially in the face of serious mental health issues, and they actually demanded the university to put other structures in place to do this more effectively than themselves. And also there is a huge burden on their own mental health in this complexity that this issue is, so it's just something to be mindful of.
Should I take
You
it?
can take it.
I'll take this question from the audience. Thank you. Hi, I'm Bridie. I'm from the University of East Anglia, and I work on the Courage project, which is another one of these catalyst-funded projects. We have done some supervisor training as part of the project, and that's been really important, but that's what my colleague Ben's been doing, so I'll let him talk to that. But I have a question actually about mentoring. So it's come up quite a lot from the students I've been working with that they are looking for someone outside of their supervisory team to have other support, and it might be about career mentoring, it might be maybe more pastoral support, but just someone else to talk to about things that come up that you don't feel you want to talk to your supervisors about. And we think that PGRs at our university are interested in this, and they talk to us a lot about it, but I'm getting a bit of pushback from higher levels of the university, I think, because of potential extra investment that might be needed, money, effort that would have to go into that. And I just wondered if the panel or anyone in the room had any thoughts or advice around mentoring.
As it's something I do every day, and I think it's very important to have somebody actually outside the institution. And this way I can bring, as it were, fresh perspective. And as I've been researcher and supervisor myself, I know what goes on. One thing I have to be careful about, though, is not just tread on the toes of the supervisor, him or herself. More generally, I think students overall get far too little support, not just those with mental health issues, when it came to supervision, dealing with supervisor and other problems.
Anyone have anything to add? Are there any more questions?
Hi there, I just want to commend the panel for a great discussion here. It's great to finally see postgraduate research in mental health getting its rightful place in the research field. I'm from Ulster University, and my passion while I do is outside PhD life is looking at this, and I had run an initiative where I tried to do like a monthly Twitter love to get some more information from the panel on how they got such great engagement with their quantitative survey, and also just maybe a comment on is there particular element that postgraduate researchers have in terms of disclosing, so perhaps they don't actually want to disclose, but is the issue maybe much bigger than they actually realise, because it's not what they're getting across it.
In terms of how we increase it in our survey, somebody asked me yesterday actually how to do that, so many people. I think we kept it open for quite a long time. We tried to do as much promotion as we could in so many different ways as we could online, in person. We are lucky that we have Cassius ongoing, we have quite a big team. They would go to events and promote it. We had some prizes, which I don't think necessarily make a massive difference. In terms of getting our working professional comparison week, we struggled with that actually. And we ended up using various different kind of online and participant pool kind of websites. I think that there are issues, as you mentioned, with kind of disclosure, with all of those sorts of things, PhD students speaking about mental health problems. And I think what came up a lot in the focus groups that we did was almost a kind of psychological self-triage process that people go through, where they talk about, well, I'm having these experiences, I'm having headaches, and I feel sick, and sometimes I can't get out of bed, but I know it's not a real problem. I know it's just what my PhD is basically like. I know it's not, it's not a mental health problem. I know it isn't that. I really want to take up, and I really want to go and see someone about it because I don't think it's serious enough. So there are lots of kind of complex issues around what they think a prototypical PhD student should feel like. If you don't feel exhausted and stressed and tearful or anxious, does that mean you're not working hard enough? There's other people out there who have really serious problems, and I'm not one of them, and I don't deserve to talk about it, but I shouldn't. So I think there's some really complex issues.
No, that's great. That's quite a lot of, that's a very comprehensive strategy you had. I think what we've done, again, we had funding from research innovation in the university. So we had on our side the deans of graduate studies that they were told that they would get the results back by college. And they were very proactive and very engaging to find the data and really get the evidence and how they would support further our graduates. So that helped quite a lot actually into promoting the surveys and also opening this dialogue with research innovation and again higher up and what needs to be done and what actually is the ground base that we're starting. So that's another way.
Thank you. I'll come to you. 5 minutes. I'll do 2 from the audience and 2 from the students.
Hi, I'm Marquise and I'm chair of Jelena and also I'm director of Teague, which is a specialist mentoring organisation. And I just wanted to pose a question about mentoring and the impact it has. You've probably had like 10 years of research looking at the evidence base of specialist mentoring as a way to provide some feedback students who are basically more in a research-focused centre who are seen more as a peer and a fellow researcher, and maybe the dynamics are different, and whether the panel knows any research or has kind of touched on in their own research.
Fieldwork in and of itself came up a lot in both our kind of survey data and our overseas data. Coming back from fieldwork in particular, I think was always a good point often for people in terms of mental health and wellbeing issues. Another thing we did as part of UDOC was we offered a little kind of pot of money for researcher-led and PhD student-led initiatives. And one of the things that they came up with was a support group focused on kind of difficult or sensitive data. So I think that's a group of students that actually we need to pay a bit more attention to. And personally for me, because I was one of them as well, my PhD focused on interviewing people with serious mental health problems in their own homes. And I think there isn't enough of consideration around kind of if you're researching actually really quite sensitive, difficult stuff. I think that's a group to be aware of. So yeah, and I think definitely issues in terms of mental health and wellbeing. I think also some issues just generally for universities about what level of support they provide to students that are not campus-based, be that through fieldwork, be that through being a distant student. I think that's something that we really need to look at more. I think we'll be looking at that and trying to pull that out much more in our survey data kind of from now into early next year as well.
We looked into the differences in terms of year of study, and for instance, fieldwork would typically take place in year 2, but we didn't find any differences here. The first year that was critical was actually year 5 or above, where suicidal ideation increased. Also, we collected open-ended qualitative data in answer to our open-ended questions, and there was very little mention of any effects of fieldwork, positive or negative. There was much more about the experiments and spending day and night in the lab and the isolation coming from this kind of work and the burden of this kind of work, rather than anything to do with field work.
There's a paper, I can't give you the reference unfortunately, done by an anthropologist in Cambridge, looking at the students who've done their anthropological field work, and it contains a lot of information. I don't think any of it's statistical, but it gives you a very good sense as to just the kinds of difficulties they faced.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We'll only have